Hello everyone, welcome to Ball Street, welcome to the Social Club. I discovered actually before we went live, this is 2 years to the day since we did our very first Social Club. Doesn't time fly, Ped? Yeah. When you're having tremendous fun.
Tremendous fun. Isn't football great?
Isn't football brilliant?
Great.
So good and so entertaining at all
so
times.
good that we have to talk about fucking Ronald De Boer.
Ronald De Boer?
What? Rupert De Boer?
Frank De Boer.
Who? I don't know. I pay no attention to all the clubs.
Frank De Boer sacked as manager of Crystal Palace. Paul Neal joined us from Irish Football Fan TV as well for your Social Club debut. I mean, we've had some comments coming already. Sid Cannon saying, I watched Palace yesterday and they were unlucky not to come away with something. De Boer had them playing football. What's wrong with that? Sacked after 4 games is ridiculous. It is ridiculous, isn't it?
Especially with the amount of shots they had on goal yesterday. Just couldn't get the ball in the net. That seemed to be the issue with them.
I'd die for that many shots at goal at Everton.
That's true, yeah.
We did a bit about this last week, didn't we? And we talked about the board have to shoulder some of the blame in these situations, because why get a guy in to play a brand of football and not back him with the players required to play that brand of football? Now, we had people in the comments again coming back and saying, you've got to be more pragmatic. You know, it's on him. Why is he trying to play that brand of football with the players? Who's taking the blame here?
If you get a De Boer in, Ajax, Barcelona, you know what you're getting, surely. You know what you're getting. Palace have tried to change the style, and we spoke about this before. They tried to change the style before, and again, they don't allow the manager the time because results are everything in the Premier League, and we know that. It's about what Palace want to be, I suppose. Do they want to be a Premier League team, an attractive Premier League team, or just a Sam Allardyce sort of clone? Where did he want to go? These are all the questions. But if you bring a manager in like De Boer, you know what you're getting, and you've got to allow him to change the mentality of the. Because all they're going to do now is go to another manager who's going to go revert to type, and that's only going to get you so far. And then they're going to do the same thing again. Yeah. And you've got to allow people like this time. And I just think, certainly for the Premier League, 4 games is not enough to justify a sacking.
They've not won a point. They've not scored a goal.
Yeah, but yesterday it did look like they were starting to actually get used to the style of management. I think it's Parish's fault.
Yeah.
I think the blame falls on him. I don't think after 4 games it's justified. Do you know what I mean? They still have a chance to turn it around. It's only 4 games in.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I can't. I'm struggling to play devil's advocate on this one, especially because favourite to take the job, expected to sign a deal until the end of the 2018-19 campaign, is Roy Hodgson.
Your mate?
I fucking hate him, Ped. He's a dreadful football
Is this because
manager.
of what he did for England?
Sure. Yeah. You know what? We talked about last week about why our final vestiges of interest was killed off, and he's responsible for that for me, because I'd seen him firsthand for half a season how dreadful a manager he was, and then the conceit that he was going to come in and be this change things in England or something, whatever. And look, Palace might well suit him. It might well suit him, because that's exactly what you say there. You know what you're getting from Roy Hodgson. You're going to get. He can conceivably get Palace to finish 9th, 10th.
No chance. Not a chance. Not
really?
a chance. They're nowhere near good enough to finish at that level. Nowhere near good enough. And De Boer wouldn't have had them anywhere near that.
Okay.
Do you know what I wonder? I look at someone like Hodgson, and people might laugh at me when I say this, but for Hodgson, why not a Moyes? Do you know what I mean? Their track records. I know Moyes' last job was pretty horrendous, and I'm not saying Moyes should have got the job, but I'm just saying what makes Hodgson a candidate?
You know why? Because he's the master of self-promotion, and yet once he gets a job, he's the master of lowering expectations. He got the England job using Inter Milan and Liverpool on his CV. How dare you use Liverpool on your CV to get yourself a job? But the thing is, there's idiots in football, aren't they? And they only look at the names. And they'll Steve Parish will go, he's a safe pair of hands. And he had the England job.
Yeah.
That'll do us good.
Yeah, I just think, to be honest, Palace, they just haven't got the players to do what the fans want them to do, and they think that they can compete and do this. Sure, Benteke doesn't score goals till after Christmas anyway.
The point is that, go back to what I was saying, what do Palace want to be? Yeah. Because it's where do they expect to be? Because really they should be a team that finishes around 10th down to what, 14th, 15th at best. Now, if you want to be better,
no, I think that's unfair. I think that, and this is going to sound like an absolute prick, but I've got to say it anyway. I think you can have a great season and finish 7th or 8th. I know the 7th thing's harder now because you've got loads of money all of a sudden, but you know that 8th place. No, and it sounds like who the fuck wants to finish 8th in the Premier League? Really, you know what I mean? Where's the But the point is, Stoke can do it. West Brom can do it. Yeah. Southampton can do it. I think Palace could conceivably do that, but then you kick on from there. You know.
I agree. I do agree with the point. I just think that to do that, you need some stability. Look at West Brom.
Yeah.
Pulis has been there. Now, Pulis, when he first got there, his job was to keep them up. And then I think a lot of people thought, well, now that he's done that, what would he do next? Because he's got no track record of kicking on.
Yeah.
He's created stability over a couple of years, and now it looks like they're starting to kick on. They've bought players. He's been allowed to buy the players he wants. They're pretty much the same old West Brom. They're just getting better being the same old West Brom. And I think that's what Palace have to do. But that's not going to happen if you're changing your manager after 4 games, or that manager was your first choice.
It's something. It's to go after 4 games. To completely go back to the thing that they've been doing for the last few years, because what's the plan with Roy Hodgson? He's only on a now less than 2-year contract. You know there's a limit to what he can deliver. Is it just that they're just thinking 2 more years in the Premier League would do us and we'll worry about it in 2 years' time? That's what it looks like.
It goes back to what Pep was saying there about you get Hodgson in after getting rid of De Boer, and then once Hodgson gets them stable, they'll be looking to get someone like De Boer in again. And it's just like a complete cycle with them. They have no identity. They have no identity. And like if you look at West Brom and Stoke, they have no identity. Whereas Palace just don't look like they don't even have a style of play anymore.
The thing is, West Brom. I'd say the West Brom thing's interesting because West Brom are another archetypal club for doing the same thing. West Brom get a football playing manager in because they want to play good footy. They either get relegated or almost get relegated, and then they bring someone to steady the ship in, and they go through that constant cycle. Newcastle have had a little bit of that over the years, and Palace just look at they need to decide what exactly say. No, we're just going to be. You know, they've got an amazing atmosphere. They get a great crowd at Selhurst Park. They've got the ultras thing, which I think plays into that whole thing. Why not design a type of football and stick to it that accentuates the battling qualities of that?
The strange thing is, I do think they've got the players to play a certain way. They've got fast, attacking, direct players that, you know, is probably set up for counter-attacking football, which is probably what De Boer, where his background comes from, Ajax, Barcelona, pressing and counter-attacking football. That's perfect. It's just that he's been in the country. You know, he's been here for 3 months. Yeah. He's played 4 Premier League games. It's going to take time. He probably didn't get the players he wanted, and the players he's got probably haven't settled down yet. Yeah. And it's just, I think the Allardyce thing probably threw them a little bit, because if he'd stayed, he would have built his style onto them. And actually he changed slightly. He wasn't sort of playing in a style you'd think. He was fitting into the palette, because I think that's very much the way they see themselves playing. But Hodgson's just going to kill all that, isn't he? He's just going to, it's just going to be I don't know. I don't know what Hodgson's style is, apart from great.
Yeah, no, Hodgson doesn't have style. It's just to rub your face and look like an owl. I'd be interested to know Crystal Palace fans thought that we're going to try and get more voices involved in these things. We've got some things relevant to the videos later on coming up, but I'd have liked to get Jim Daly's view on this, but we didn't have time. But if you're a Palace fan, let me know in the comments. I've got one here saying, De Boer, thanks for fuck all. Now it's time to fuck off, says John Bonson.
But for 4 games, how can you say after 4 games?
I'm only presuming he's a Palace fan.
Unless I haven't really watched. I mean, you watched them play against you. What did you think when they played you?
I don't think they were very good, if I'm perfectly honest. But this is the problem with playing football, is that we did last week. It doesn't happen overnight. No. You can't. And if you're a footballing team and you're trying to become a footballing team, and you come up against an establishing footballing team, you're gonna get beat because there's no way of you winning that game. You have to go. But maybe that's where the buzz got. Maybe you just gone balls deep too soon. You needed to do horses for courses and say, I'm going to go and play football in these games to give people a little taste of it. But for year one, I'm just going to be a bit more brutal. But maybe he didn't have that in his locker. Sorry, we'll get to some comments and we'll pick it up in a second. Ross, what have you got for us?
Yeah, there's one from a Palace fan actually. He says he was there at the game and he thinks something's going on behind the scenes. That you don't think the players liked him much. And what are your thoughts?
Maybe
I can imagine that, because I imagine De Boer's got a level that he expects the players to be at because of the plays he's played at, and sometimes that's where these fellas come unstuck.
Yeah.
You know, the same happened at Inter last year, and you just wonder whether some people just suit certain, like, he should never leave Ajax, or he should have just stayed somewhere within Barcelona, being the backroom staff. But an interesting question I would ask the Palace fans is, because, listen, I don't know your club and I haven't really done the research, which you should have, is what was his backroom staff? Because I think another mistake, or certainly what sometimes works well for these kind of managers is coming in, is if they come in with an established backroom staff who know the club inside out, can have a little word in the ear. I mean, it's happened at Everton where Koeman's come in, and he's still got people like Duncan Ferguson, David Unsworth in the background who can just say to him, I don't expect him to say too much to him, but he can just say to him, this is how this.
Well, this is apparently where David Moyes went wrong at Man United, isn't it?
Yeah.
That he was told, keep these guys around,
Yeah.
keep the continuity so you don't shoulder too much to blame. And he was like, no.
No, I run everything. But I think that's a good point, especially with the look at Arsene Wenger. Even when he came into, he kept Pat Rice there. He kept people who were established at the club, who knew the club inside out. And I think that's really important. Now, if he's gone and just brought all his own men in, that's never going to work. You've got to know how a club works, and by having
this is where there's probably a comment go, no, he never kept all the backroom staff immediately.
Well,
but if that's the case,
that's what I'd like to ask.
The thing is, I'd have thought it would have, I mean, you will never know. If you're a knobhead, you're a knobhead, and you can rub people up the wrong way.
Dutch people are a little
Well,
bit.
you think if that Benteke chance goes in and Scott Dent scores that header, he's still in with a job, and the people wouldn't be complaining. So
yeah,
it's just one of
and
them.
that's the one. I wonder whether he would be. That's the thing, if it's just on one result, all of a sudden they had 3 points and a couple of goals to the name. If that had made a difference, then why have you sacked him? Because it's either a little bit knee-jerk, or they've decided they're doing this and they've just held on for a bit. And either way, it's weird.
I think they've got 3 big games coming up now. I think they play the likes of Man United and maybe Man City. And so I think maybe the idea is that
Sure.
if we were to get beaten the next 3 games, then that gap would be too big. Whereas Hodgson can come in and go, but whether you like him or not, I imagine he'll come in and just shut up shop and try and work the players to not concede goals.
I'm so glad that we don't have to play Hodgson's Palace at Anfield. That's all I'll say. He wouldn't have got out alive. Johnny Hickey with €1 super chat. Thanks very much. Ross, what have you got?
Just on the backroom staff, someone said Sammy Lee stayed.
Okay.
Or
Yeah,
a
he
few
doesn't
people
count.
said that. Okay.
To be
He's
fair,
not exactly a Palace legend, is he?
No. To be fair, was he? I've had people know. Was he brought? Did Sam Allardyce bring Sammy Lee in?
Whoa!
he had
Hang
him fault.
on. Sammy Lee might be the inside man who's getting Hodgson through the door.
Actually, maybe that's what it is. Yeah, it'd be interesting. We'll never know the full ins and outs of it, but it's weird because you think you've gone from probably a lot of draconian methods, which Palace players will be getting back sharpish under Hodgson, by the way. He'll have rope out and all kinds. They'll be climbing rope in short shorts and doing on the pommel horse. Yeah. You go, no, just go on your knees, keep it safe, don't go to your feet.
Krypton factor courses.
In the mud. But yeah, I'd have thought you'd get a football playing manager in, and all of a sudden you're just playing short-sided games all day long and a bit of fitness. I'd have thought they'd up for it, but
why though? I mean, another point I'd like to bring up is why. What about the up-and-coming managers? What about other managers out there who are doing good jobs at their clubs?
But De Boer's one of them by all accounts.
But he's not though, because he failed badly at Inter Milan. He was out after 77 days at Inter Milan. So he wasn't an up-and-coming manager. He was an up-and-coming manager when he left Ajax, and the likes of, we were looking at him at the time. He was an up-and-coming manager now. He failed at Inter, now he's failed. So his reputation is absolutely fucked. But there's other managers, like the Northern Ireland manager. Michael O'Neill. He's doing an absolutely fantastic job. Not saying he would leave because you're on the verge of going to a World Cup. But why isn't people like him getting a chance? Yeah. Why are we reverting back to someone who really should be retired from football? Because, he's a man who's passed it and finished. Why are we looking backwards and not looking forwards? This is football's problem, I think. They're always looking for the safe option. And then when the safe option doesn't work, they go, I know. It's the live on your
feet or down your knees thing, is there, to some extent. We got a super chat from Queen of Stamford, actually. Have you seen that one, Ross?
Yeah.
Do you want to read it for me, just to make sure you're not bored?
How will Loftus-Cheek fit into Hodgson's style?
Well, I think Hodgson will like Loftus-Cheek because he's a big lad. And he likes big lads.
Play at the back.
You'll probably play him centre half, or he'll have him centre forward. It's a shame because the one player I thought really stood out for Palace against us at Anfield was Loftus-Cheek. I thought he was a really, really good, really talented lad. But here's the thing, though, Paul. They've got Benteke, and they've got Zaha, and they've got some decent defenders. Hodgson doesn't need much more than that to get a tune out of a team.
But they have Kabay as well and Miljojevic as well.
Well, they'll be gone.
Well, they are good players, and if you can utilise them well, they obviously bought Sacco as well. And is your man Riedewell? Has he been playing? The Dutch centre half.
See, this is the thing, isn't it? Again, and it pisses me off when people get sacked early. Is that any progression that has gone on to make the team better? Hodgson will just get the credit for it if it comes right.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe if the ball had been left in another 3 or 4 games, you would have started seeing that. And that's another thing you'll never know. But Hodgson will end up getting the blame, getting the credit to do well, and everyone will think he's great when in reality.
Well, there's a comment here. Lewis E says we've looked poor at the all pre-season playing the unfamiliar 3-4-3. I'm pretty certain he'd still be in the job if he'd stuck with 4 at the back. And this is the thing, isn't it? It's tough, isn't it? Because as we say, it comes down to this. It just looks to me from the outside looking in like he's been sold the job wrong. You know, either he's promised he can do something that he can't, which is cross the bear, or he's been told this is what the job is and he's got in and it's not the job at all. It's like you're going to work in the porn industry and you're not. You're just oh great, you're just a fluffer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what your job is.
Brilliant. I mean, that's the perfect analogy for this for this whole thing.
Absolutely.
No, I think you're right, and I think that's where the club have got to take a massive amount of blame. Is that
The chairman, maybe.
They've come out and just said we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we've got this, and then it's nonsense. You know, I think the manager, you're probably right in terms of what you're saying here about sometimes a manager has to come in and take stock of things before making dramatic changes. Maybe he should have started with 4 at the back and slowly got his feet under the table and transitioned into a 3 at the back. I think that's probably where he's gone wrong, and I think that's where a lot of managers make mistakes. They go in there gung-ho, going, I'm going to put my stamp on it straight away. The Premier League is unforgiving. You know,
It's a result.
It's a result. It's not, the Premier League isn't a glorious football business, it's a results business.
Yeah.
We don't have too many winners of the Premier League that play glorious football. We have teams that play football that wins your games. Yeah. And ultimately it's the same at the other end.
I suppose that's what it boils down to, though, is that Paris has looked at it and thought, you know, look at all the money, look at the riches, and you bottle it, don't you? Sometimes maybe, you know, he's gone in with all in the summer when he's had the bevy and he's all cocky and confident. It's like
he's always cocky and confident.
Well, I'm sure, yeah. But it's you know, and all of a sudden the reality of what the Premier League is it's great having all these models, and this is why young players don't get played in the Premier League.
Yeah.
You know, because you go, yeah, I'm going to develop youth, and then all of a sudden your young right back is getting skinned, and you're only 3 games away from playing your 40-year-old centre half or full back because at least you know he's an international calibre.
Let's not be that harsh on Trent Arnold. Come on.
I was actually thinking about someone else. No, but
Joel Ward.
Yeah, coach. But Kenny Dalglish did this when he came in on a temporary basis for Liverpool. He was playing Flanagan. He was bringing these kids through, and then it got to his main season. And the Skrtel started right back against Spurs and got absolutely murdered because when you've got something to lose, and I feel like that's maybe what the owners have done. Ross, let's have one more comment before we move on and do the next live stream.
Yep, Johnny Hickey says, is this sacking another step trying to play towards fans' ambitions of instant success versus a long-term plan?
Well, this is it. We're going to continue to see this time and time again until we talked briefly about Southampton last week, Paul, and saying, look at what they've done. Look at what are they going to win the Premier League anytime soon? You know, probably not. You know, unfortunately, but they're going to be. They've got a sound model. They play a good brand of football, and they are self-regenerating to some extent. There's no massive changes, even though they've changed managers and they've changed mass personnel. They're still able to play a Southampton brand of football season in, season out. But that's taking bottle. That doesn't happen
Yeah.
They've had to go from the bottom and bring that all the way up.
Well, a lot like on our channel, we had Palace fans in over the summer, and one was constantly like, just giving out about the chairman. It was never any blame put on De Boer. It was let him get on with it. But then it was problems about getting players in and stuff like that. They were complaining about the money for Sacco, because it was 30 million Liverpool were looking for, and then in the end they paid 26, wasn't it? So they were haggling over 4 million for the whole summer. Maybe if they had got him in sooner as well.
That's a good point. They didn't play at the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. If you don't get the players in that you've asked to get in there, but then again, look at Sacco and think, well, who bought Sacco? It's weird, isn't it? To play who's on loan at Palace, went back to Palace under 2 different managers. It was an easy option.
But it's like being told you've got to go and win a race, and you're being promised you're not going to. Look, we're not going to give you. You're not joining Ferrari, but you're going to join a team. They've got a car, and you're going right. The car's a bit shit at the moment. It's a bit of a banger, but look at all these modifications we can bring in that are going to help get a bit more out of it. And then all of a sudden, you sat on the starting grid, first race of the season, and those modifications are still being negotiated with. What have you got? What do you expect? I think he's been hung out to dry.
The Palace fans do want to see. They did want to see De Boer bringing in younger players and giving them a chance, because from when he came on our show, he was talking all about bringing through all the youth players. They want to see that, and they were happy that De Boer came in because he does bring through youth. But now
again, and that's where you have to go back and look at the owners and say, you appointed this manager looking for one thing, but now you want another thing. So ultimately, whose fault is it?
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, thanks very much for your comments. Keep them coming in. Ross is in the comments. He'll be chatting to you for a few minutes more. We've been asked, actually, before we wrap up, by RJS96 to talk about the Mane Challenge. That's coming up next. The next show, which will be starting in about
what?
5 minutes.
Which challenge?
Mane's red card.
I haven't heard nothing about that.
No. Of course. Well, we're also going to talk about how Luke Skywalker's a Liverpool fan.
One-handed.
So yeah, stay tuned. Come back to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to Ball Street if you want to get the notifications. Click the bell. Not that one. The one on the YouTube channel.
Which one?
And then you can get notified when we go live. Otherwise, subscribe to Irish Football Fan TV. Subscribe to Toffee TV. Subscribe to Mates TV as well. And we'll see you back here soon.